भूषण राम आश्रितवत्सल जय जय राम अयोध्यवासी सीताराम आपद्बान्धव जय जय राम अगणित गुणगण भूषण राम आश्रितवत्सल जय जय राम अयोध्यवासी सीताराम आपद्बान्धव जय जय राम दशरथनन्दन श्रीराम दशमुखमर्दन जय जय राम कौसल्यासुकवर्धन राम कामितफलद जय जय राम पापविमोचन श्रीराम पट्टाभिराम जय जय राम जानकी वल्लभ सीताराम जय रघुराम जय सीताराम वानरसेवित श्रीराम वारिधि बंधन जय जय राम वानरसेवित श्रीराम वारिधि बंधन जय जय राम हनुमत्पूजित सीताराम श्रीराम जय जय राम रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम श्रीराम जय जय राम 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 श्रीराम जय जय
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय। Let us chant the first verse together. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः भक्तियोगः। अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते तेषां के योगवित्तमाः। Yesterday we had seen the moment one realizes that the cause of all my suffering is me myself and not the world, from then on the attention is turned inwards, and from then on the sadhaka is born. As long as one considers that the source of my happiness or the source of my sorrow is the world, till then sadhana is meaningless. Now this chapter deals with various kinds of sadhanas. So in this chapter Bhagavan gives 5 layered sadhana. The first, Bhagavan is going to discuss the highest sadhana. Then Bhagavan tells Arjuna, if you can't do this, do this. If that also is not possible, do the next one. So like that 5 layers he is going to give. So this chapter is very, very important for every sadhaka. Yes. So the chapter begins with a question. And in the question Arjuna asks, Bhagavan, I find in the world various kinds of seekers. They are all seeking God, but the mode, the way in which they seek, they appear to be totally different. So here broadly the seekers are classified into 2. One is Saguna Brahma Upasakas, the other is Nirguna Brahma Upasakas. Some seekers seek God with form, some others seek God without form. So Arjuna's question is, Bhagavan, between these seekers, who is the best? Tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Who knows the path the best? This is the question raised. What does Bhagavan answer? Let us chant verse number 2. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Veshyamano Yemam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te me yuktatamamataha Maya veshyamano yemam nityayukta upasate Shraddhaya parayopetaha te me. Yes. So here Bhagavan doesn't give a direct reply. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, Saguna Upasakas, if they perform Upasana in this way, they are indeed great. But in the following verses, Bhagavan says, but only Nirguna Upasakas reach me. So what does it mean? It means, Arjuna, Nirguna Upasana without Saguna Upasana is impossible. It is difficult. You cannot meditate upon a God. Now in the next words, Bhagavan is going to describe Nirguna Upasaka. What are the pointers he uses? Nirguna Upasana is very difficult because your senses and the mind cannot grasp it. So the difficulty faced by a person who worships God without form is more difficult than a person who worships God with form. So therefore Arjuna, start with form. This is the advice. Now in this verse, what does Bhagavan say? Those upasakas, mai aveshya manaha, those seekers who having fixed their mind, who have entered their mind into me, absorbed their mind into me, mai aveshya manaha, nitya yuktaha, ever steadfast, firm, sincere, devoted, regular, Shraddhaya paraya upetaha, endowed with supreme faith. Those seekers who worship me, te me mataha yuktatamaha. In my opinion, they are the best. Now here advice is given to Arjuna. Keeping in mind Arjuna's level, Bhagavan says, Arjuna, for you, Saguna Upasana is better. Nirguna is too difficult for you. Why is Nirguna difficult? So in the next two verses, Bhagavan is going to take the first level, the highest level of sadhana, and as we go through, we will try to analyze why that sadhana is very difficult. So let us chant third and fourth. This forms the description of the highest sadhana. It is called NIRGUNA NIRÀKÁRA DHYANA. Let us chant. Ye tvaksharamanirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kūtasthamachalam dhruvam sanniyamyendriyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha ye tvaksharamanirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kūtasthamachalam dhruvam sanniyamyendriyagramam te prapnuvanti mameva. Yes. So what do these upasakas do? They are nirguna nirakara upasakas. They meditate on God who is formless and who is attributeless. So here some few pointers are given which this upasaka uses to meditate. What are the pointers? Ye tu aksharam. Akshara means imperishable. Anirdeshyam, indescribable. Avyaktam, unmanifest. Sarvatragam, all pervading. Achintyam, unthinkable. Kutastham, unchanging. Achalam, not moving. Dhruvam, eternal. So these are the pointers used. Let us put it in an order. So first let us take avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest. What does it mean, unmanifest? Unmanifest means that which the senses cannot grasp. The eyes cannot see, the ears cannot hear, the tongue cannot taste, the nose cannot smell, the skin cannot feel. This is called avyaktam, unmanifest. Indriya agocharaha. So this supreme truth or God, they are meditating this way. It is not manifest to the senses. Why it doesn't manifest to the senses? Because it is that consciousness principle because of which the sense organs function. It is something like our Puja Gurudev used to give an example. The torch and the battery. So in a dark room, you can see everything with that torchlight. But there is one thing which you cannot see. What is that? The battery. Isn't it? The moment you remove the battery, the light is not there. The moment you put the battery in, light is there, but the battery is in. So in the same way, this consciousness principle, the truth or God, is something because of which all the sense organs are functioning. The sense organs themselves cannot grasp the consciousness. Eyes are seeing because of it, but eyes cannot grasp it. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyat vachoha vacham saupranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshuhu. This is how Keno Upanishad defines this great truth. It is the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind. Meaning what? The eyes are functioning because of it. The ears are functioning because of it. In short, it is the sentient principle in the body because of which the very body is functioning. That life principle is this God. You cannot grasp it with the senses. You can see everything with the eyes, but can you see the eyes with the eyes? Not possible. So if you can't even see the eyes, how can you see something which is behind the eyes? So therefore it is avyaktam. Now these are all the terms used in the Upanishads. Avyaktam. Okay. It is not manifest to the senses, agreed. But what about the mind? Can the mind grasp? Because if it is a concept, the mind can grasp. It may not be available for the senses, but there are so many things in this world which can be understood by the mind, can be thought of. So then Bhagavan says, achintyam. It cannot be thought of. Why it cannot be thought of? Because it is the awareness in which the thoughts exist. You can be aware of thoughts, but you cannot think of awareness. Got the point? In the seat of meditation, these are the pointers to be used. You can be aware of thoughts, isn't it? When you close your eyes and sit for meditation, you know that the thoughts are going. How do you know? You know it in the light of awareness. But can you think of awareness? You cannot think of awareness. So therefore, achintyam, unthinkable. Thoughts rise in awareness, exist in awareness, die down in awareness. But you cannot think of awareness. So therefore, mind cannot grasp it. Fine, mind cannot grasp it, but can it be described through words? So therefore, the next term used is anirdesyam. It cannot be even described. Why it cannot be described? It cannot be described because if you want to describe something, it must have some properties. Some guna should be there. Some properties must be there. Now this consciousness is such that it doesn't have any property. So therefore you can't even describe it. And there is nothing in the world by which you can compare. It is something like this, that also you can't say. Because it cannot be compared with anything. So thus it is anirdesyam. Then sarvatragam. Now you can't experience through the senses. You can't think of it. You can't describe it. So naturally one may say, oh, then God doesn't exist. So then Bhagavan says, sarvatragam. No, He exists everywhere. He is an all-pervading truth. Someone wrote on the wall, God is nowhere. Someone else came and put a comma after, see it is nowhere, isn't it? So N-O-W, comma, H-E-R-E. So it becomes, God is now here. This is the truth. If you want to experience God as it is God is now here. Anyway, that point we will discuss later. So He is everywhere. He is present everywhere. Sarvatragam. And therefore, achalam. Achalam means that which doesn't move. That which is all pervading, naturally, it cannot move. For example, can the space move? Space cannot move because it is present everywhere. Therefore, achalam. Okay, then kutastham. It is seated like a kuta. Kuta means, there are many meanings. One meaning is like anvil. Anvil means what? You must have seen this blacksmith, goldsmith, etc. using one thing, and they heat the metal, iron, red hot, and keep it on that anvil, and they beat it to shape. So kuta means anvil. So this consciousness or God is something which remains as an anvil. What does it mean? Anything that comes in contact with anvil changes its shape, etc. But the anvil doesn't change. So kutastha means unchanging. Whatever comes in its contact changes, but this remains unchanging. Like for example, body. Body is alive because of that consciousness principle. But what is the characteristics of the body? Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyate. 6 characteristics. The body grows, it is born, it grows, it matures, decays and dies. Now see the change. But even though the body is changing, there is something which remains changeless and provides support for the body. That is why it is called kutastha. The mind continuously changes, but there is one support for the mind, standing on which the mind is changing. Thus it is kutastha. Kuta also means maya. Maya means prakriti, the world. So kutastha also can mean that which gives existence to the world. The whole world borrows existence from this consciousness. Kutastha. Now see, as the terms we describe, it becomes more and more difficult, isn't it? That is the purpose of the description here. This sadhana is very difficult. Kutastham, aksharam, imperishable, and then dhruvam, eternal. So at the seat of meditation, what does this meditator do? So this is the kind of meditation to be done. Just sit down for meditation, close your eyes. That is why the term sanniyamya indriyagramam. Indriyagramam means all the sense organs and the mind. Sanniyamya, controlling. He is seated. Now what is the meditation he does? When he closes his eyes, he finds a thought coming and going. So what is the meditation to be done? Hold on to the awareness principle and just watch the mind. This is the meditation to be done here. What we have to do? Hold on to this consciousness principle, meaning witnessing. So in the process of witnessing, what you have to do? You have to distance yourself from the thoughts. This meditation is called the highest meditation. If you can do this, you need not do anything else. That's why Ramana Maharshi calls it straight path. It is something like climbing the mountain straight. You don't have to go round, etc. But you have to climb the mountain straight. You must have that kind of strength. So this is all what you have to do. Sit at the seat of meditation. Thoughts you will find. Thoughts are flowing. What you have to do? Don't identify with it. Don't get carried away by it. At the same time, don't sleep also. not sleeping, not flowing along with the mind, what are you supposed to do? Just sit and watch. So the moment you start watching the thoughts, a strange thing starts happening. If you are watching, what will happen? The thought intensity starts coming down. It is something like taking away your foot from the accelerator of a vehicle which is running at a good speed. What happens when you take away your foot? The vehicle starts slowing down, isn't it? In the same way, your thoughts also start slowing down as you start watching the thoughts. You don't have to label the thoughts. You have to just watch. It can be good thought or bad thought. You don't have to comment upon it. You have to just watch. Like you are watching the traffic. Vehicles are going, you are just standing on the roadside and just watching. You are not jumping into the road. You are just watching. So what happens when you watch? When you watch, you are not cooperating with the mind. There is a non-cooperation from your side, and the moment you stop cooperating with the mind slows down. But suppose you get identified with the mind, then what will happen? The mind again picks up momentum. That is called as wandering mind. Vikshepa it is called. The beginners will have to face this problem. After half an hour you wonder whether you have meditated or not. You go along with the mind. Mind is dragging you. You are not able to hold on to anything. So here this meditator has to hold on to only one thing. What is the one thing? Consciousness or awareness. Being aware. Being a witness. Now this needs tremendous amount of purity. Because to see a distance between thought and awareness, you need purity. If purity is not there, thought and awareness appears to be a homogeneous mixture. You can't even see thoughts. To see this distance, purity is necessary. That is why this path is very difficult. Extreme purity is essential. So now, let us see the contents of the thought. What are the contents of the thoughts? So, Ramana Maharshi in Upadesha Saram, he says, Manasam tu kim margane krite naiva manasam marga arjavad. When you start inquiring into the nature of the mind, inquiring into the nature of the mind doesn't mean you inquire and again start a series of another thought. No. Inquiring into the nature of the mind means just watching it. And then what happens? Naiva manasam, mind disappears. For the highest sadhaka, this is effortless. And now remember, this consciousness or awareness is what is called as God. Now what do you mean? Holding on to awareness and watching the thought. What does it mean? This is the highest form of bhakti. For people who have tremendous amount of devotion for God, this awareness itself is God. So not cooperating with the mind means what? Not cooperating with the world. Because thoughts are nothing but the world. Yes? What are thoughts? It is nothing but the world. So now the choice is yours. Do you want God or do you want world? If you say, I want world, then you are a samsari. If you say, I want God, then you are a sannyasi. Sannyasa is not changing the dress. If you are a sannyasi or a samsari, how will you know? At the seat of meditation, you will know. If you are with the thoughts, with the world, then it is a samsari. But if you are with this awareness, because this awareness is God, if you are holding on to this awareness, that means you really love God. Otherwise, you can't hold on to awareness. So in Viveka Chudamani, Shankaracharya says this is the highest devotion. Highest devotion. If you can just witness the thought, then you are the greatest devotee. Many times we have wrong understanding about devotion, isn't it? The one who cries and weeps, he is a devotee. Not necessary. The one who does lot of puja, he is a devotee. Not necessary. This is the greatest devotion. That is why it is called a straight path. No imagination. No conceptualization. As it is. If you want to know God, this is it. So now in Upadesha Saram, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gives some techniques. Vrittayastvaham vrittimashritaah vrittayo mano vidyaham manah. So now you start observing the thoughts. Now all these thoughts have got a root thought. Now this is a guide or an aid for meditation. Every thought you have, there is one root thought from which all the other thoughts emerge. And what is that root thought? It is I thought, or nothing but ego. What is ego? My understanding about myself in this present state is called ego. I am so and so. This I am so and so is called ego. Now what does Bhagavan say? All your thoughts emerge from this I thought. Just do one thing, whatever thoughts come to your mind, just keep writing down. And you will find all the thoughts are linked to I thought. All thought. Vrittayah tu aham vrittim ashritah. All the vrittayah, all the thoughts, they take their support, they take refuge in aham vritti. Aham vritti means I thought. Egoistic thought. So first I comes, then all the thoughts come. Vrittayah manah vidhi aham manah. Understand that this ego thought is also a thought. This ego thought is also a thought from which all the other thoughts emerge. So what is it that needs to be done? If you can destroy this ego thought, all the thoughts will die down automatically. Like for example, the moment you cut the root of a tree, you don't have to cut the branches and twigs, etc. It's over. This is the aid given. Just go into this I and try to find out who this I is. At present we have so many notions about ourselves. I am so and so, I am fat, I am thin, I am intelligent, and this, that, etc. All these are nothing but a thought, a concept about yourself, a notion about yourself. And all these notions are wrong notions, because it is nothing but a thought. It is a samskara which you have superimposed upon yourself because of your conscious or unconscious style of living. You have entertained certain thoughts continuously. Now that thought has become as though a part of you. So now what has to be done? Remove every thought, including this ego thought. What happens when the ego thought also goes? Ahaminasha bhajahamahantaya sfurati hrutsvayam paramapurnasa. And a time comes when the ego thought also dies away, because you are witnessing. You are witnessing every thought. So a time comes when the ego thought also becomes an object. You are watching, you are observing. Then what happens to the ego thought? Dies down. The moment ego thought dies down, will I die? No. Bhagavan says, the real I emerges forth. The ego I is gone, the real I, the Supreme Self or Paramatma shines forth. Sfurati hrutsvayam paramapurnasat, which is all perfect, which is infinite, which is immortal, which is my real nature. What is the nature? What is my real nature? Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat means eternal existence, absolute existence. Chit, of the nature of consciousness. Anand, of the nature of bliss. So the more and more you start going deeper, you start experiencing great joy. And from where does that joy come from? It is your own nature. Like the heat is the nature of fire. You don't have to create that joy, it is there. This is called NIRGUNA NIRÂKÁRA DHYANA. As it is. It is beyond all religions, all what you call kinds of worship. What are we doing here? We try to know who we are. And whatever we are not, we just discard it. And what we are, we go to the very same source. So then what happens? The egoistic notions are removed. So remember, in spirituality, we try to know ourselves. This is all what we have to do in spirituality. We try to know ourselves. This itself is called realizing God, gaining enlightenment, salvation, etc. At present, we have superimposed some wrong notion about ourselves. That wrong notion has to be removed. So there is a very famous story which Swami Vivekananda used to say. I'm sure you must be knowing it. So there was this shepherd who used to take the flock of sheep for grazing into a forest. So one day, as he was taking the sheep to graze, he found a small lion cub playing there. The mother had died, so this cub was helplessly crying there. So the shepherd boy, just to feeling pity for that little lion cub, took the cub along with him and started taking care of it. So every day morning, along with this flock of sheep, this lion cub also used to join. Now who is the role model for this lion cub? The sheep, elders, isn't it? Yad yad acharati sreshtaha. Anyway, so now this lion cub was looking at these big sheep, elder brothers. So what do? They eat grass and they bleat. So this lion cub also learned to eat grass and learned to bleat. So slowly as the years passed by, this cub grew to become a huge lion with all sheepish qualities. So we'll call this lion a sheepish lion. So one day what happened? One day suddenly a wild lion entered into the forest with a great roar. And when the roar was heard, all the sheep, they started running away. Now this sheepish lion also started running away. So when the wild lion saw that another lion is running away from him, he was a little puzzled. So instead of chasing the sheep, he started chasing that sheepish lion. Caught hold of him by his manes and said, sheep running away I can understand, but why are you running away? You are also a lion like me. So then this sheepish lion said, please don't kill me, I am a sheep. Then this wild lion said, no, you are not a sheep, you are a lion. Then the sheepish lion started giving arguments. See, I am eating grass, what does it mean? I am a sheep. See, I am able to bleat, what does it mean? I am a sheep. See, I am not able to roar like you, what does it mean? I am a sheep. Please don't kill me, please don't eat me. Started requesting, trembling. Now this wild lion became impatient with this fellow, dragged him to one nearby pond and said, now look at your face and look at my face. So this sheepish lion looked at his face. His face was like a lion, and there was similarity between the two faces. So now this wild lion said, now come on, leave all this eating grass, etc. Now roar like me. And again he gave a huge roar. Now because so many years this sheepish lion has practiced only bleating was coming out. But after a few rounds of practice, the sheepish lion also started roaring like a normal lion. And after that, the sheepish lion became a normal lion and walked the forest fearlessly. This is the story. Now, who is the sheepish lion? Who is the sheepish lion? It is our story. Whether that story really existed or not, it is meaningless. But this is true, that at present we are the sheepish lion. So in that story, everything has got a, what you call, significance. That wild lion is nothing but Sadguru. And what is that roar? That roar is Aham Brahmasmi, Tat Tvamasi. I am Brahman, infinite. You are also that. Uttishtata, Jagrata. That is the roar. And what is that pond? Pond is nothing but scriptures. Because scriptures are the only mirror in this world which will show you who you are. It is called as Shastra Darpanam. What do you do with the mirror? Do you look the company of the mirror? Where is it manufactured? No. When the mirror comes, the first thing you do is you look into yourself, isn't it? So in the same way, in the scripture, all the description about us, that is given. So what does the scripture say? It talks about you. A Mahatma was reading Upanishad. So someone asked, Sir, you are a realized saint. Why do you want to read all these Upanishads, etc.? So then that Mahatma said, no, I wanted to know what they have written about me. So all these terms which you see, Aksharam, Anirdeshyam, Avyaktam, Sarvatragam, Achintyam, don't get scared, it is you. Don't think that something they are describing, some Avyaktam something. No, it is you. So that is why it is called a straight method. Straight, to the point. No stories here. As it is. So what is it that you have to do? Sit at the seat of meditation, just watch the thoughts. And as you watch the thoughts die down. And remember, along with the thoughts, not only the ego dies down, the world also disappears. Why the world disappears? Because the world is seen through the mind. Can you see the world without mind? Can you see the world without mind? It is not possible. You are seeing this world in the mind. So this world which you are experiencing, it is nothing but a thought modification. The moment the thought modifications die down, the world also disappears. Then why is it that we see it so real? There are so many things which you see real, but it doesn't exist. Now in Upanishad itself they give an example. Let us assume that you have a fireball and you rotate it very fast. A fireball. What do you see? You see a ring, isn't it? You see a ring. But actually, does that ring exist? No. What exists is only a fireball. But now there is an illusion and you find a solid ring existing. So what are you supposed to do to see the truth? Slow down the rotation. In the same way, slow down your mind and you will see the truth as it is. Whatever you are seeing is only a distortion of the mind. It is not the fact. The mind itself doesn't exist. That mind, because of its very high speed of vibration, you see everything to be real. You see things to be different from you. So at the seat of meditation, as your meditation goes deeper and deeper, the mind becomes quieter and quieter, and a time comes when the distorting mind disappears. Then what you see is the truth. When mind totally disappears, what exists? Only you exist. This is called samadhi. Samadhi. Dhi means thoughts. When the thoughts become sama, quiet, what is experienced is the truth. It is called a turya avastha. In fact, this truth is ever there as the background. Only thing is, we have not paid attention to it. It is always there as consciousness. Is there anyone who is not conscious? Is there anyone who is not conscious? Every moment this consciousness we are experiencing. I am conscious of the color, the hall, the sound. I am conscious, isn't it? This is what we say. I am conscious of my own existence. I am conscious of being present. I am conscious of the book. So for everything you use, I am conscious, I am conscious, I am conscious. This consciousness itself is God. Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. Every thought, the moment it rises in your mind, remember there is awareness just giving support to that thought. The one who takes the attention from the thought and fixes it in awareness continuously, Upanishad says, Amrutatvam hi vindate, he attains immortality. Because death is only for the body, mind, etc. Death is not for the consciousness. But now because we are so identified with the thought, with the ego notion, with the body, etc., that we have as though become one with the body. Now whatever happens to the body, it appears as though it is happening to us. So when the body is sick, I say, I am sick. When the body is dying, I say, I am dying. You are not dying. It is just an illusion of the mind. You are immortal. Body dies, accept it. Body dies. It has to die. But that doesn't mean you die. Why is it that I feel that I am dying? You feel so because you are so identified with the body. You feel this body is me. And that is only a notion in the mind. So what does this meditation do? It removes that notion. I am this body is a notion. Remember that sheepish lion story. What did the wild lion do? Did wild lion create a lion out of a sheep? No. Wild lion only removed the notion in the mind of the sheepish lion that it is a sheep. That notion was removed. Nothing else was done. Upanishad also guides us to remove this notion. I hope you are following it. Remove this notion and you become fearless. You don't have to create Brahman. You don't have to create God, or you don't have to become God. You are already God. But this notion prevents you from knowing that you are God. So then what is the solution? The solution is remove this notion. And that is what NIRGUNA, NIRÂKÀRA, DHYANA does. It just tries to remove the notion. How does it remove this notion? Through meditation. In meditation what happens? In meditation you hold on to the real and leave the changing, the unreal. Till now what have we practiced? We have held on to the unreal, we have ignored the real. Now in this meditation we hold on to the real and leave the unreal. How do we do it? By holding on to this awareness, because that is the real thing. How to practice? Witnessing is the technique. Witness. Whatever the thoughts the mind brings in, don't be interested in it. Be interested in only one thing. Which thing? Awareness, consciousness. The moment you are interested in the mind, you are a samsari. The moment you are interested in consciousness, you are a sannyasi. Sannyasi means the one who has renounced everything. Renunciation is not external. Renunciation is at the mind level. How do you know we have renounced? If your attention is not going towards the world, then you are a perfect renunciate. For the sake of God, you have renounced the world. Renouncing the world is very much mental, at the mind level. So this is something we can test. We don't need any guru to tell us that you are a samsari or a sannyasi. You know it. At the seat of meditation, what is happening to you, you know. Yes or no? Yes. You don't need any extra test. This is the test. Is it clear? What is the qualification for this meditation? The qualification is extreme purity. If you don't have this qualification, you will either go to sleep or you will find the mind wandering, and you are also wandering, riding on the mind to such an extent that you even forget that you are sitting for meditation. These problems will be faced if the qualification is not met. So nothing to worry, Bhagavan himself is now telling. Now before that, verse number 4, what does Bhagavan say? The one who performs this kind of meditation, a time comes when his mind is quiet and he experiences himself as pure consciousness. Now, his understanding about himself has changed. Earlier, what was his understanding? I am body. Now what is his understanding? I am consciousness. Now when he sees others, what does he see? He will not see as a body, he will see consciousness. And now what has happened? There is oneness now. I am also consciousness with an incidental body. He is also consciousness with an incidental body. Incidental means impermanent, unimportant. She is also consciousness with an incidental body. Therefore, we are all consciousness alone. So now, this vision of oneness brings in all the good virtues from one. All good virtues come from vision of oneness alone. It is not that he cultivates virtues. It comes to him unasked. Suppose your teeth bite the tongue. Now there is pain. Will you feel like knocking down your teeth? You will not. Why? Because the teeth is also you, tongue is also you, isn't it? Don't feel like punishing the teeth. There is oneness there. Wherever there is oneness, there is love. Wherever there is oneness, there is compassion. All the good virtues, forgiveness. Do you remember when exactly you had bitten your tongue? See, that forgiveness is absolutely perfect. You don't even remember such an instance when it has happened. So all good virtues come from this vision of oneness. And now this Mahatma who has done this sadhana has gained that vision. He sees himself as pure consciousness and he sees others also as consciousness. What is that verse in Gita? Shuni chaiva swapakecha Vidya vinay sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva swapakecha pandita sama darshinaha. So here it is sarvatra samabuddhayaha. Vidya vinay sampanne brahmane. So there is a brahmana walking. Vidya vinay sampanna. Rich in knowledge, virtues, etc. Gavi in a cow. Hastini in an elephant. Shuni chaiva swapakecha in a dog and also in a dog eater. He sees oneness. What he sees? He doesn't see the body, his caste, color, creed, nationality, religion. He doesn't see all that. What he sees? He sees only one thing, consciousness. And thus he is able to love everyone. Therefore, sarva bhuta hite rata. See that last term in the fourth verse. Sarva bhuta hite rata. What is his joy? Rata. He revels in the welfare of all beings. Because now for him, there is not someone different. Everyone is me, myself. So any pain to others is nothing but a pain to myself. He cannot stand suffering of others. There is total oneness. Sarva bhuta hite rata. This is the highest. So Bhagavan says, te prapnuvanti mam eva. Such a meditator, they reach me alone. And now this eva is called alone, so you can put eva in different places. Te eva mam prapnuvanti. What does it mean? They alone reach me. Te prapnuvanti eva. They definitely will reach me. So these are the ways in which commentators comment. So now the question is this meditation avoidable? It is not avoidable. Why? Because here alone you come to know your oneness with God. God is consciousness, you are also consciousness. You have to know God as consciousness. Whichever path you may take, ultimately this path is unavoidable. Like for example, you may enter into a temple from different ways. But if you want to see the Lord, you have to turn towards Garbhagriha, isn't it? Sanctum sanctorum. You may come to the temple from different ways, choice is there. But if you want to see the Lord, there is only one way. In the same way, if you want to experience God in His fullness, in its completeness, then there is only one way. You have to know Him as yourself. That is the meaning of Mahavakyas. Aham Brahma Asmi. I am God. When it is said I am God, doesn't mean this body is God. What is meant? This consciousness in me, which is the real me, is God. The famous example given is the wave and the ocean example. Is wave equal to ocean? No. As far as the shape is concerned, size is concerned, you can never say wave is ocean. Ocean is infinite. Wave is finite. But yes, in another sense, wave is ocean. How? The content of the wave is also water. The content of the ocean is also water. So therefore, with respect to the content, with respect to the essence, both are same. Isha jivayor veshadhibida satsvabhavato vastu kevalam. Isha jivayoho veshadhibida. As far as Ishvara and Jiva is concerned, Jiva means individual. As far as Ishvara and Jiva is concerned, with respect to their Vesham, Vesham means costume, dress, there is difference. God is omniscient, omnipotent, etc. Whereas Jiva is not omni, only mini-potent. Ishvara is Sarvavyapi, Sarvashaktiman. We are Alpavyapi, Alpashaktiman, Alpatnyaha. Everything is Alpa only. Isn't it? So Ramana Maharshi says, with respect, when you compare with respect to the power and the glory and the costume means instrument. Ishvara is infinite, Jiva is finite. But Satsvabhavatah Vastu Kevalam. But with respect to the essence, God is also consciousness, we are also consciousness. There is absolute oneness. So this clarity has to be there. Otherwise we will keep fighting in the name of Dvaiti, Advaiti, Vishishtadvaiti and all that. Nonsense. There's a very famous sloka of Hanumanji. What is that? Deha buddhyatu dasoham, jiva buddhyatu twadamshakaha, atma buddhya tvameva aham, iti me nischala. This is my firm understanding, Hanumanji says. Deha buddhya, with respect to the body, dasa aham, I am only your servant. I am finite, you are infinite. But atma buddhya, with respect to Atma, the self, tvameva aham, I am you yourself. This understanding has to be clear. Is it clear? Shall we move ahead? Yes. This is very, very difficult, agreed. Bhagavan himself is saying that it is difficult. Let us chant fifth one. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyaktasakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम्. क्लेशः अधिकतरः. Kleshah means difficulty is more. For whom? Tesham, to those who are avyakta asakta chetasam. Those people who do this meditation. Which meditation? Nirguna, NIRÁKÀRA meditation. Those who do difficulties more. Difficulties more doesn't mean that for everyone it is difficult. No. What it means is, without preparation if you do, it is impossible. Without preparing the mind. If the mind is prepared, then fine. It is easy. Without preparing the mind, this meditation is difficult. Why is it difficult? Avyakta hi gatihi dukkham dehavadbhihi avapyate. For a person who is too much attached to his body, dehavadbhihi, meaning possessors of the body. What do you mean possessors of the body? Everyone possesses a body, isn't it? Possessors of the body means deha abhimana vadbhihi. Shankaracharya makes a clarification there. Possessors of the body means what? Those who are very much identified with the body. For persons who are very much identified with the body, this meditation is difficult. Why this meditation is difficult? Remember that process. All the thoughts hang on to which thought? I thought, ahankara. Now for him, even to leave ahankara is difficult because he is so identified. So since he is not able to drop the ahankara, all the other thoughts also remain intact. So dehavadbhi avyakta gatihi dukkham avapyate. It will give you only dukkham if you start doing this meditation without preparation. It is difficult, it is impossible. Not just difficult, it is impossible. So therefore, what is the suggestion? Arjuna, don't go for this. I will tell you a better path. Okay? For you, I will give you another one. That is the message. Have you seen this Gokulashtami? They have this matka photo thing. You must have seen it. So there is some 40 people in the first round. They stand. Then over that, another 20 people. Correct? Over that, 10. Over that, 5. Over that, maybe 3. And last, there is a person there. Now tell me, which is the most difficult one in this? The last one. Why? Because he must have tremendous amount of balance. Isn't it? Because he can't hold on to anyone. All the others, someone or the other is there to hold on. So even if I lose the balance, I can take the help of others. But the fellow who is standing there, not only he has to stand up erect, he also has to break the pot. Moreover, he is the one whom everyone watches. So he is more nervous also. Isn't it? Lot of balance is necessary. In the same way, in this meditation, you don't have any support. For other things, you have a support, like puja. You have a support. Body support is there. You are chanting something. You are remembering the verses, the stotrams, etc. They are all supports which prevents your mind from going astray. But in this meditation, achintyam, even mind support you can't take. Mind also has to be kept away. So therefore, you can take support of only one. What is that? Consciousness. And that consciousness, it is indescribable. Are you getting the point? You have to remain in that consciousness firmly. No support to be taken. So the meditator in the beginning, of course, he slips from that. So what he does is he takes these pointers, aksharam, anirdeshyam, avyaktam, achintyam. He takes the pointer and again comes back and stands there. He takes the pointer, diverts his thought into that pointer and again comes back. He takes these pointers as a support, then leaves the support and again stands there. It is something like pole vaulter. Have you seen this pole vault? So what does he do? He runs fast, fixes the pole, and as the pole straightens up, he climbs the pole. And finally he drops the pole and jumps across. In the same way, these pointers, they are the pole. He uses the pole, but finally he drops the pole. These pointers are very useful. Take that pointer, meditate upon it, and then be it. Not feel it, be it. Suppose I say, look at that beautiful moon. What do? How did you look there? You took the support, isn't it? You took the support of my hand. What did you do? Did you remain? Do you remain here? No. You leave that and then go further in the same direction. In the same way, these pointers you use it and then drop it. Because if you are using it, you are in the thought plane. You have to drop that and then be that. This is the practice done in NIRGUNA, NIRÀKÁRA, DHYANA. This is what you call hitting the bull's eye. If you can do this, no other sadhana is prescribed for you. Nothing is necessary. But suppose if you find it difficult, then Bhagavan says, Arjuna, it is difficult. Kleshaha adhikataraha. Difficult is more. Difficult is more means what? Other paths are also difficult. Kleshaha adhikataraha means what? Difficult is more in this, meaning what? Others are also difficult, but comparatively less difficult. So now Bhagavan gives an easier way. That is level number 2 that we will see tomorrow. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschat Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.